Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
You will not believe we went for the longest walk in the history of human beings walking. Well, maybe not. It was a long walk, an exploratory walk in which we were going to do a reading.
Yeah.
We didn't find one place to sit down, and we wound up finding
stuck in the mud.
Oh man, were we stuck in the mud? Boy, I tell you.
My shoes came off.
Literally, like,
they did.
Caked in mud.
I'm not joking. They came off.
It was all we could do just to get back before sunset and not find ourselves in the middle of the field in Watford.
I know. Oh my God.
But we're exploring, we're finding places, and it's nice. It's actually it's very beautiful. I mean, you don't have to walk very far, and you're just in the middle of some lovely countryside.
It is beautiful, but
that's not what we're here for.
I prefer pavements.
She's a city girl at heart. Okay, but so here we are in our front room again.
Yeah.
Reading, after a long walk in the cold.
Yeah.
But we're happy to be reading the Bhagavatam, and we're also happy that you're taking your valuable time to listen to us read the Bhagavatam.
Maybe even watch us.
Yeah, exactly. So, here we go. Where are we?
Canto 3, Chapter 32, Text 6.
Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 6. By executing one's occupational duties, acting with detachment and without a sense of proprietorship or false egoism, one is posted in one's constitutional position by dint of complete purification of consciousness. Mm-hmm. And by thus executing so-called material duties, he can easily enter into the kingdom of God. Purport. Here the word Nivritti Dharma Nirata means constantly engaging in executing religious activities for detachment. There are two kinds of religious performances. One is called Pravritti Dharma, which means the religious activities performed by the Grihamedis for elevation to higher planets or for economic prosperity, the final aim of which is sense gratification. Every one of us who has come to this material world has the sense of overlordship. This is called pravritti. But the opposite type of religious performance, which is called nivritti, is to act for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Engaged in devotional service in Krishna consciousness, one has no proprietorship claim, nor is one situated in the false egoism of thinking that he is God or the master. He always thinks himself the servant. That is the process of purifying consciousness. With pure consciousness only can one enter into the kingdom of God. Materialistic persons in their elevated condition can enter any one of the planets within this material world, but all are subjected to dissolution over and over again. Oh, hold on, I've just been told to close the door. Hold on, I'm trying to do it without making a scene. Anyway, what I was thinking was, like, this sense of having no proprietorship. Like today you went to a funeral, he conducted a funeral.
Yeah.
You didn't just attend, so you're like...
By the way, if anyone out there needs a priest to conduct funerals, I'm happy to serve.
Huh? Yeah, if you need a funeral, I mean, you won't be watching this if you need a funeral, I guess, but...
Oh, God.
But
after watching this, you might feel like you need to have a funeral. Anyway, what were you going to say? I was conducting a funeral, but the point is about being detached, I guess?
Yeah, about how I mean, those are one of the moments in life where you've realised, gosh, it all comes down to being put in this box. And what proprietorship do I have? I don't even have proprietorship over this box, because I'm dead. So, yeah, sooner rather than later, we should try to detach ourselves, because attachment only brings like sadness and misery like that. So rather have the mood of, yes, I don't mean so therefore we don't have a roof over our head, or we don't eat food, or we don't put clothes on like that, but just living simply with the mood of stuff that I do have, somehow the other grace, by Krishna's grace, and what I can use in his service I will. I'm just saying, because when I was reading it and I was thinking of and tomorrow there's another funeral, so back-to-back funerals, and you just think, yeah, we're all heading in that one place, and we spend so much time attached and accumulating things,
Absolutely. Yeah, the material world is definitely a place of becoming attached. And Prabhupada says this propensity for overlordship, to overlord the material energy, to try to control, dominate, enjoy the material energy. Prabhupada really lays it out that you perform so many religious activities simply for the purpose of getting something. And, we see it. It's like, I think Srila Prabhupada often quotes, my dear Lord, give us our daily bread. And, Prabhupada says, why do you need to ask God for your daily bread? He's feeding all the animals, like on the entire planet. He's feeding whales, elephants, and the ants. Why do we need to ask him for bread? He's providing everything. But we have a tendency, of course, it's nice that you actually ask the Lord for something, but, we perform activities, oh, please, God, I'll do this if you do that. We barter with him, or he becomes our order supplier. So religious activities are actually meant to be more of the mood of ask not what God can do for you, but ask God what you can do for him. How can I serve you? As the famous, this was what Srila Prabhupada used to say to his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, how may I serve you? And that should be our mood. So, yeah, otherwise we collect so much stuff, and believe me, when you're in the box, you're not worried about it anymore. You might have been worried about it up to the point where you got in the box, or in some circumstances, which has been the case recently, people get illnesses where they basically don't remember anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So, like the gentleman today, he had dementia for 10 years. What does he even remember of what he worked so hard to acquire? And the challenge with that is that, we just need to remember Krishna at the time of death, and oh my Lord, if you can't remember anything, of course, hopefully someone will be there at the end to perform some kind of ceremony that will help to give us a send-off, but still we need to try to remember Krishna. So, yeah. What is it all worth?
Yeah, it's interesting. You may have heard Elvis Presley's daughter, Lisa Marie, died. And in Grace, she'll be buried in Grace. She has been buried in Graceland next to her son, who died
not so long ago.
Yeah.
Suicide, I think.
Yeah, he committed suicide, and it's and next to her dad and her grandmother, like that. So it's a family plot, and it's interesting. She was quoted as saying how because so many millions of people flocked to Graceland, and it's a multi-million-pound business, but that her father's grave, where people come to see it, like a samadhi, he's there in their backyard, as it were. Her grandmother, her son was laid to rest there, and she was, when she was growing up, because he passed away when she was like 9 or 10 years old, she was always depressed by that. She said, I must be the only child or whatever that has a graveyard in their backyard, and she said she growing up, which I thought was interesting point. She said you could never forget where you were heading. In other words, she was always confronted with death, with that. But it wasn't so much said in a way you could say philosophically, like someone may take that to a higher level and be like, well, that is where I'm going. I'm surrounded by wealth because she's incredibly wealthy and so much fame due to her father and everything that comes with that. But she saw it in a like resentful, negative way. I can never forget. It was in your face like that, if that makes sense. Rather than you can imagine maybe someone from the pages of Bhagavatam would be, that you could never forget. And see that in another philosophical light. That's actually where we're all going, I just thought that was
like the sadhus in India. They meditate along the banks of the rivers where the burning ghats are, and I think it was Jagannath Das Babaji used to have a human skull, something he used to chant next to or chant with or something. Yeah, so sometime, no, maybe it was Vamsi Das Babaji, I think. It was Vamsi Das Babaji. But anyway, like that, and the catacombs in Italy, evidently the monks, even the Catholic monks would go there. And I think there was some sign, I think Radhanath Maharaj said, what was it? There was some note there that something like to the effect that don't think this won't happen to you, or like you said, this is where you're heading, your future.
Yeah.
Bag of bones. Okay, let's read one more. Time is ticking by. It's not so long. So text number 7, right? Through the path of illumination, such liberated persons approach the complete personality of Godhead, who is the proprietor of the material and spiritual worlds, and is the supreme cause of their manifestation and dissolution. Purport. The word Surya Dwarena means by the illuminated path, or through the sun planet. The illuminated path is devotional service. It is advised in the Vedas not to pass through the darkness, but to pass through the sun planet. It is also recommended here that by traversing the illuminated path, one can be freed from the contamination of the material modes of nature. By that path, one can enter into the kingdom where the completely perfect personality of Godhead resides. The words Purusham Vishwato Mukham mean the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is all perfect. All living entities other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead are very small. Although they may be big by our calculation, everyone is infinitesimal. That word always intrigues me. Infinitesimal. Prabhupada would say infinite and infinitesimal. I forget how he said it. But it's almost like infinitely small. Infinitesimal. And therefore, in the Vedas, the Supreme Lord is called the Supreme Eternal amongst all eternals. He is the proprietor of the material and spiritual worlds and the supreme cause of the manifestation. Material nature is only the ingredient, because actually the manifestation is caused by His energy. The material energy is also His energy, just as the combination of father and mother is the cause of childbirth. So the combination of the material energy and the glance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of the manifestation of the material world. The efficient cause is therefore not matter, but the Lord Himself. So it's very, like Sankhya type philosophy there at the end about, what is the actual cause, the real cause, the material cause, But ultimately the Lord is the cause, of everything that's going on or everything that has happened. So very powerful. And the path, again, it's explained in the Vedas, but also explained there in the Bhagavad Gita that one should pass in the light fortnight, not in the dark fortnight. So we want to pass in light, not in darkness. And the idea is that then our way back to the Supreme Lord is lit, it's illuminated, rather than us moving more into darkness. We want to move into the light, become enlightened, like that. Any thoughts?
Oh yeah, I read that in Bhagavad Gita, like that, passing in the darkness, passing in the light. But then my understanding, because then when I first read it, I was all bewildered and disturbed, like very first, and thinking, oh my God, I need to make sure I die when it's like light, and I thought, I don't need this tension. But subsequently reading and just hearing classes, and that was that as long as you're on the path, you put your hours in, you've clocked your card, as it were, in Krishna consciousness, chanting, hopefully maybe someone's chanting for you, that it doesn't matter, that would transcend if I happen to fall dead, like in the middle of the night.
Yeah, that's I think what's given there. And which chapter is that?
I don't remember. I want to say 8, but
it could be 8 or 9. Could be 10 also. 8, 9, or 10. But yeah, so that's my understanding also is it's correct. That's for yogis who are trying to acquire a specific destination. But for bhakti yogis, the devotees, their destination is assured, and Krishna explains that also. So, so it doesn't matter when you pass. It's auspicious because you're simply engaged in the service of the Lord, and you'll remember the Lord. These materialistic things, they don't matter so much. Like that. Nice point. All right, thank you all very much.
Thank you,
Have
everyone.
a good evening, and we'll try to have a more adventurous reading next time somewhere outside. Anyway, Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki
Jai.
Jai.